There are many myths about what it was like to be a knight in medieval times, spread not only by Hollywood but also by contemporary legends from the time period itself, with both featuring widespread depictions of the chivalric knight rushing to the aid of damsels in distress and generally spending their time on the bastions of all that is good and the very definition of noble. But what was it like to be a knight in medieval times? And what did they actually do on a daily basis? Welcome back to another video on Binge History, where we will be talking about the life of medieval knights. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more content just like this one, and turn on post notifications. Now let's binge history like we binge eat. Knights, being the most dreaded and well-protected fighters, were at the pinnacle of the social hierarchy in the Middle Ages. They were what everyone else aspired to be, with the finest training, the best attire, the best weaponry, and, apparently, the best manners. Tales of their daring conduct and chivalry were told in poetry and popular songs, ensuring that those knights who soared above their contemporaries would be remembered for the rest of their lives. Aristocratic birth, training from childhood, money for weapons, horses and squires, and knowledge of the rules of chivalry were all prerequisites for becoming a knight. If one desired to get to the absolute top of this elite level of medieval society, good looks, exquisite attire, a striking coat of arms, and the ability to recite poetry and songs were optional, but highly coveted bonuses. To achieve this lofty position, however, grew increasingly difficult as the Middle Ages progressed, as the wealthy sought to maintain their exclusive status. During the Middle Ages, a man could become a knight in one of two methods. The first was to win the right to fight on the battlefield. If a soldier fought bravely in a battle or war, he may be knighted by a monarch or lord or even another knight. The second option was to become a knight's apprentice and achieve the title by hard work and training, going through page, squire, and dubbing ceremony. A new knight was given his sword blessed by a priest with the oath that he'd always protect the poor and weak. A knight's job entailed being part of their lord's private military. In certain kingdoms, such as England, this rank entailed being the king's sole vassal, making knights the national military. Other countries like France let local nobility enlist knights, resulting in a more decentralized power structure in the region. In either case, knights performed the bidding and fought for whomever they had sworn allegiance to. Nevertheless, some knights operated as independent mercenaries, and the Crusades provided an opportunity for the more daring and religious. Almost everyone in medieval Europe was Catholic. It didn't matter if they actually believed in the religion. All citizens, especially those in higher authority such as knights, were required to do daily religious chores. Their day started with a mid-morning service at a local church. This probably helped them organize themselves so they could start their day on the right foot. You guys might have heard about how knights adhered to a code of chivalry. Mostly people think of chivalry in a courtly sense, with knights being courteous to women. But the system was actually a way to keep belligerent knights in line. One set of chivalry rules, for example, prohibited the activities like beating up priests, stealing livestock, robbing, killing, or kidnapping random individuals, burning down houses for no apparent cause, and abusing women. Do you know the knights were really concerned for fashion? Fashion was not as prevalent in the Middle Ages as it is today. Laws placed restrictions on the kind of clothes people could wear. Serfs, for instance, could only spend so much money on clothing because noble people, like knights, wanted to ensure they dressed better than ordinary folk. Knights had to be trendy in order to get distinguished from lower classes, so they donned ornate and extravagant garbs. They also liked to emphasize their crotch with huge codpieces. Getting to the diet of the knights. Modern science has made us aware of the nutritional value of our food, but individuals in the Middle Ages had very little knowledge of what they consumed. Their diets were mostly composed of meat and bread, in part because they preferred it, but partly because they believed vegetables were harmful. Since meat was expensive for an average person, knights were likely to have greater access to meat products than the average serf. And they used to drink constantly. You know what I mean. Knights competed in tournaments to practice and refine their skills without going into real battles, as well as to win public accolades and prize money. Though knights did joust during these sporting events, the first tournaments featured melees, where groups of armed horsemen duked it out in mock battles. Jousting, in which two armed horsemen tried to topple each other off horses, overtook the melee in the 15th century, and tournaments turned into glorified equestrian displays called carousels. These tournaments were open exclusively to noblemen, and it was a great honor to participate in them. Let's now have a look at their leisure pursuits. When not on active military duty, knights had numerous opportunities to practice their skills, compete in tournaments, hunt, and even court women. Also, the evenings were generally a social time, and knights and noblemen needed something to do to pass that time. On most nights, during or immediately after dinner, a minstrel came around to tell stories or play songs. On evenings without entertainment, the men spent time together conversing. Time for a fun fact here. Armor as an impediment. Though it was good at deflecting arrows, most full-body armors were up to 66 to 110 pounds, substantially impeding the knight's ability to move and fight. Historians and researchers believe some armies in the 14th and 15th centuries might have won several major battles if only they'd used less armor. The knights might have been faster, less fatigued, and more capable of dashing circles around other sluggish knights if they hadn't been carrying so much weight. By the 16th century, most of them had traded in their heavy armor for something lighter and more mobile. Coming to the last days and death of a knight. When the knight's combat days were done, it was not uncommon for him to join a military order to secure a nice spot in one of their cemeteries or even churches. Effigies of knights were a common way to ensure remembrance. These stone carvings, typically portrayed in full armor and carrying a shield, can still be seen in many churches across Europe. And they not only provide historians with an invaluable record of medieval weapons and equipment, they also remind us of the veneration knights enjoyed in the Middle Ages. In any event, to sum up, the life of a certain medieval knight may vary greatly depending on the era and fortune of the knight in question. However, most were trained for many years as elite warriors, were at least a step above peasants, and had many greater freedoms and prospects for progress as a result. In terms of their daily lives, it appears they spent most of their time keeping the peace when they weren't ruining it, managing their estates and workers on their land if they had them, hunting, partying, competing, training, and of course occasionally off campaigning for God or Lord. We hope you liked this video, and if you did, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel without any delay. Make sure you turn on the post notifications, and also let us know in the comments section about your views on the life of a medieval knight. Thank you for watching Binge History, and until the next time we meet, continue learning.